you might have seen in Algebra 2. So it's called the table of powers. I don't know why it's so blurry here, but the base is in bold down the center. So it's called the power family of 2, the power family of 3. And I don't want you to go too far, so we're not going to fill in every single box. But you can see that 2 squared is 4, 2 cubed is 8, right? 2 to the 4th is 16. So you're just doubling this row, and then in the next row, you're going to be tripling, right? 3 squared is 9, 3 cubed is 27. So I only want you to go as far, it says as 1,000. So once you get past triple digits, like down here at 7, 8, and 9, you don't have to go very far to get to 1,000 when you're doing powers of 7 or powers of 8. So I want you to fill in to the right, but then to the left, it should be pretty easy, because what is anything to the 0 power? So you might not know this, but anything to the 0 power is just 1. So I'd like you to fill in the entire column under the power of 0 with 1s. And you could even try this on your calculator. 2 raised to the 0 power is 1. 60 raised to the 0 power is 1. 5 raised to the 0 power is 1. And the reason for that is because it fits in our pattern, right? 1 times 2 is 2, times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. What about this row? 1 times 4 is 4, times 4 is 16, times 4 is 64. So I want you to get familiar with some of these lower multiplied numbers. And then you don't have to fill in very far in this direction. Like, don't fill this side into the thousands. But all a negative exponent does is it takes the reciprocal of the right side. So 2 to the negative first power is 1/2. 2 to the negative second power is 1/4. 2 to the negative third power is 1/8. So even if you just go like 3 boxes to the left just to practice the fractions, don't fill in all the way over here. Just fill in up to 1,000 on the right side and just practice some of the fractions. That way the power families will start getting in your head. Use a calculator. If you want to split it up between yourself and a partner, like, hey, you do, the evens and I'll do the odds and we'll just trade. Or if you just want to do them all yourself, but just take 5 minutes. And then we're going to talk about some patterns that we see in the table. Observation, right? So like the 5 powers always end in 5, right? And then you should be able to do 10 to any power, right? 10 to any power is 1,000. And I kind of already pointed out to you, but all of these powers are basically repeated on the left side of the table, right? It's just the fraction. Did you have another one? What else? Oh yeah, the 6 power family always ends with a 6. That's right. Good. And I don't know all of these. Like, I don't know 6 cubed off the top of my head. I don't know 7 cubed off the top of my head. But if you start getting into some problems that have 7s or 49s, you're going to be on the lookout for the 7 power family. So we're going to get into solving some of those exponential problems later this unit. And the other thing I wanted to point out to you, which you probably already know, but order of operations when it comes to exponents gets important this unit. So making sure that we do steps in the correct order. So let's just look at 1 and 2 first, but it's always parentheses first. So I'm going to add the 2 plus 3 together and get 5 before I do anything else. Then exponents comes next. So I'm going to ignore this 5 out front and do 5 squared to get 25. And then my last step is to do 5 times 25 to get 125. So there might be some mental math without a calculator because I want you to know the order of operations. If we just do one more together, this one seems to trip students up a lot because they want to make it positive 4. It only is positive 4 if the negative 2 is inside a parenthesis that's being squared, because this would be negative 2 times negative 2. What you have in this example is 2 squared and then take the opposite, which I feel like is confusing. But really, it's -1 as a coefficient, and then the 2 is what's being squared. So this is really -4. So -2 squared, if you do it on your calculator, -2 squared without a parentheses comes out as -4. -2 squared with a parentheses comes out as +4. So this is really -4 plus 5, which is 1. So I want you to take a minute and try those other examples and then see if you can evaluate these functions without using a calculator, right? F of 0 just means plug in 0 for x. So see if you can practice your mental math. So you're probably about done with 3, 4, and then those other 2 little examples. So if you want to, when you're finished with those, if you want to check what you got, make sure we got the same thing. If we didn't get the same thing, you let me know, and then you can try the table at the bottom. Made mistake. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 squared is 16. I think I read 3 minus 1 for some reason. Did this one come out right? 9 minus 6 is 3, right? This one, when I plug in 0, I get 2 to the first, which is 2, minus 3 is -1. This one, I plug in 3, I get 2 to the fourth, which is 16, minus 3 is 13. This one came out to just 3, right? Because anything to the 0 power is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Plug in -2, the reciprocal gives you -4. No, the reciprocal gives you 4. Going too fast here, folks, right? The reciprocal doesn't make it negative, so this should have been +12. Monday brain. 3 times 4. There shouldn't be a negative. I'm going through it too fast. So did you get them all right, even though I made a couple mistakes? Good, see? Why would you change your answers? Just say, oh, Mrs. McCracken, you did something wrong. This is 20 in the table. So if you wrote that it was 2, I think it was -15 or something. But I realized it said 20, so I went all the way down to 20 in the table.